I can't wait for it to be normal because everyone's so paranoid about it.
Yeah.
Like when they get into contract, when I say they, consumers.
Sure.
You.
Yeah.
When you guys are buying a house,
Yeah.
you go, okay. So we go, hey, you have to have insurance, right? What's up, Rick?
What's up, Jay?
I had a pretty good day.
Pretty good. A minute ago, you had a great day. Now we had a pretty good day.
Oh no, it was a really good day, man. What's going on? What's new in your world?
Well, I'll tell you what's new is, and I was gonna say what's new is the insurance thing.
What's up with that? I saw that you were on with the insurance commissioner, the actual commissioner.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. So one of the things that is awesome about being involved in the California Association of Realtors, and I don't ever say that, but you have access to these, kind of pretty important people. We're a pretty big movement in terms of body. And yeah, he came on and did a whole Zoom with us about what's going on. And then, as you know, this has been a big problem, It's been
a big problem. Other people that might watch this, they might be like, what insurance problem?
Yeah,
like what?
Right.
So what is the issue anyway?
Yeah, exactly. And you're 100% right. I mean, insurance was like, it's assumed you can just get insurance, no big deal. And about 18 months ago, insurance companies started going, hey, listen, we cannot afford to be here.
So they just stopped writing insurance policies.
Yeah, they basically said, listen, we're going to be leaving. We're not going to be reissuing policies. We're going to be basically picking and choosing who we are going to work with. And there was what's called a fair plan, which is kind of a catch-all, just in case, like worst case scenario, that the state kind of subsidized, and that's a whole other thing. Well, all of a sudden that became like the go-to insurance. And about 3 or 4 months ago, it took like 45 days just to even get a quote from them. But even worse than that, you remember back in the day when we were figuring out how much people were going to cost, taxes and insurance, and we put in $100 a month.
Right.
Like, they just put it in.
It's pretty standard, $100, $125 a month.
To be honest, did you ever think, I was like, that seems really low to me.
Yeah.
That always seemed low to me. Like, how are we insuring this $1 million asset for $100 a month?
Yeah.
But anyway, so all of a sudden, maybe you can't even get insurance. And so somewhere in there, they rated everybody's neighborhood from 0 to 10.
Yeah.
And this is after all the California wildfires and all that stuff, and the flooding and the landslides. I mean, going all the way back to the Oakland fire in 1992. They've been trying to figure this thing out. And finally, the insurance companies were losing money, literally losing money every year. So they went to the insurance commissioner and they're like, hey, we cannot sustain like this. We need to be able to raise rates. The commissioner says, you can't. And so they're like, all right, well, then we have to go. That's basically how it went down. So then we've been in this spot where a lot of houses are not getting insured. I don't know if have you had that happen with your?
Honestly, I've been really lucky with insurance. Has been an issue for sure, more from an affordability standpoint because there's so many less carriers that are available.
Right.
And at the end of the day, I don't really know how the underworkings work of insurance and insurance commissioner.
Yeah.
Maybe you can, shed some light on that. But it seemed that because they weren't allowed to raise rates, which they really did need to because they were bleeding, losing money. Right. It's not like a conspiracy theory where they want to rip people off. Like they were hurting, that it seemed like they were just coming out of markets everywhere and using it as a negotiation tool to be able to come back in and raise rates responsibly to where they need to.
Yeah.
That's me saying that. I don't know.
I think that's largely accurate. And listen, I'm no expert either, right? Yeah. I'm kind of on a little bit more of the front lines. Just a side note, is that included in the DTI?
Yes. So when you're qualifying, so we didn't have issues ever on getting insurance, meaning that we got it done at the end of the day.
Yeah, yeah.
Where we did see the biggest pain point in this insurance debacle is that the cost of it for these California Fair Plan, et cetera, was so much more expensive that people couldn't qualify because it's in your DTI, your debt to income ratios, your qualifying ratios.
Right.
So, we saw some wild quotes for a little while, but that was probably 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It's gotten a lot better since then, and it continues to get better. But we were seeing insurance quotes for $35,000 on a couple of these properties where previously it was $8,000 a year.
Yeah.
So 5X is a big difference from a qualifying standpoint as well as what someone wants to pay.
Totally. And there's limitations to the fair plan. And anyway, so all of that's the ground, that's what's been going on. And
so why were you on with the commissioner today?
Yeah, exactly. So the commissioner comes on our Zoom with our president, the California Association of Realtors president. And he basically, and I've never met this guy. I've heard about him. First of all, he's awesome. I thought he was a great guy. He came from, he was a senator. And he's like, listen, we have this completely antiquated system that was created to kind of govern and regulate insurance. It was created 30 years ago.
Right.
And it doesn't work anymore.
Right.
And so it needed to be completely revamped in a way that worked for homeowners to be insured and for insurance companies to be able to provide insurance. We have climate change. There's all kinds of factors that have created this. So instead of putting a Band-Aid on it, kind of just doing what they've always done and kicked the can down the road, he completely revamped whatever the regulations are. I have no idea what the details are, but what's important is that in working with the insurance companies, they said, okay, if you do those things, we'll come back. And that's already happening. So there was like if you were an HOA with a condominium, you like a ton of those were just not even getting insurance. Okay. Those have already started coming back.
Yeah.
The largest insurer is Allstate. They're coming back.
Right.
Farmers is the second. They said that they'll write. So bottom line is December of this year, so less than 6 months away, things should really start to get back to normal.
That's great. So we'll see more options is really what it comes down to.
Right. When there's more options, prices will come down,
yep.
right?
Yeah. Yep. More options, prices will come down, which is really good for everyone to know because it makes a big difference. When someone's looking to buy a house, I'll give you an example. We had someone who's a first-time home buyer, was going to buy a $600,000 home here in our market, and they were in a, moderate fire zone, et cetera. The insurance previously was $2,000 a year. Okay, on this property for where they were.
Yeah.
They were being quoted $6,500 a year. So, I mean, that's a difference of $400 a month in a monthly payment. First-time home buyer, that's a huge spend. That's budgeting an extra car payment, right, like into the actual insurance cost.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. We had a listing that the guy was already on the FAIR plan. Unfortunately, he passed away. Mm-hmm. Brother comes, we go to sell the house, and we tell the buyers, hey, you're going to have to be in the FAIR plan.
Right.
They get a quote, and it was twice what the other FAIR plan was. So it was $4,500 for the brother. They get a quote for $9,000. They choose for whatever reason not to do it because they paid cash for the house.
Yep.
They went in 2 months later to insure once they closed the deal and everything, and it went up another $3,000. So it went from $4,500 a year to $12,000 a year on a 1,800 square foot house in Santa Rosa.
Insane.
$1,000 a month for insurance.
Insane. Absolutely insane.
Yeah. So this was for those of us in the business trying to help those kinds of people, it's a big deal, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And some people are not affected, but like most of them are in.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it's a big deal.
That's amazing. So the commissioner came out and said, we're working again. We're going back to work. We're going to let people come in and raise rates.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
basically that's the short version.
It's amazing.
By end of the year.
Good.
Yeah.
So insurance problems, go.
I think so.
Good. Yeah, that's what I've been hearing too. And I can't wait for it to be normal because everyone's so paranoid about it.
Yeah.
Like when they get into contract, when I say they, consumers.
Sure.
You.
Yeah.
When you guys are buying a house, you go, okay. So we go, hey, you have to have insurance, right?
Yeah.
And they start getting quotes. And you and I literally just had one.
We have one right now.
We have one right now that's closing that went through 7 different carriers.
They went through more than that. They went through a lot. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, in order to get insurance.
Yeah, and then ultimately they did end up in the FAIR. This is a funny one because the irony of this one, this house is on stilts over the bay.
Right.
And so why do you need fire? I mean, you need it in case your toaster catches on fire. But they're definitely not in a fire zone. But ironically, they had to use the FAIR plan. Did you know that?
I did. Yeah.
But their FAIR plan, because of where they are, it's so cheap. It's actually cheaper than regular insurance.
Yeah. So none of it makes any sense.
Anyway.
That's fantastic, man.
Yeah. So good stuff. Good news. If you're living in the woods, worried about selling your house, if you're living in the woods, you already bought a house and your insurance is high, should be going down, should be able to sell your house. Yeah. So
Relief's on the way.
Relief is on the way.
Fantastic.
All right.
When it's long form content, it doesn't matter how long the words are.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember or not, but my insurance guy told me, dude, shit's about to go down. Remember?
I
think we made a video about this going, hey, we were like strategizing, like how should we market to these people? All right. You ready to do one about the VA?
Yeah, I got to stop and stop.
Okay.